Hi, welcome back to My Life with Plants. My name is Newman, and today I'm going to do an up and close with Acanthocalycium spiniflorum variety Violaceum. So here it is right here. We're going to do this indoors. We've got some noise out there, so it's hard to record. So the Acanthocalycium spiniflorum Violaceum is native to Cordoba, Patagonia, Andes, Central West Argentina. It is found from 500 to 1,400 meters above sea level. So now we got a police car going past. Okay. It's can be globular, like the one we have here, to elongated, 10 to 15 centimeters. It will seldom offset. It's distinguished by its pale lilac flowers, which are right here, and it's got some buds coming. And also its dense yellow honey-colored spines. So this I've been cultivating for about 3 or 4 years. I bought it as a large plant. It's growing somewhat. It says that it's a reasonably fast grower. I would say not so. Kind of grows slow for me, slow and steady. As far as the culture goes, in order to get it to bloom, I mean not bud, but for it to bloom, you need high light, preferably direct sunlight. There's been some years where it's come into bud and the buds have never opened. It's just budded up, kind of as you can see now, like that, and then eventually they've just dropped off because we haven't had enough sunlight or sun exposure. So today it's cloudy today, so there's no sun at all. The sun's gone behind the clouds. So on days like this, it'll never come into bloom. So you need to have it in direct sunlight with some protection from midday rays, depending on where you live. So here we can have temperatures that can almost get to the 40 degrees, which is well over 100 Fahrenheit. And at that time it needs just a 30% shade cloth or something like that, just to prevent it from getting burnt. But you need a lot of direct sun exposure for those blooms to open. The blooms are a beautiful lilac, as I mentioned. And what drew me to this particular cactus was its beautiful spines, which drew me to it. These honey-colored spines, and then the flowers as well. I bought this plant from a plant nursery that's part of a big shopping complex, and it is from www.sabotan.co.jp here in Japan. They grow a lot of their plants in the soil underneath greenhouses, where they have a greenhouse structure that's polythene, and they plant all the seedlings directly into the soil that's in a slightly raised bed, and then there they let them grow and mature into full-size plants, and then they are dug up. This one was dug up with the roots fully intact, but I have bought specimens from them that have had the taproot severed off, and that can be pretty detrimental to the survival of the cactus and in some circumstances it can kill them, but not all varieties. There are a lot of cactus that naturally get torn or ripped up and dragged down riverways and end up tumbling and ending up in a new location where they sprout new roots. So it's not always the case for every species of cactus. Okay, so next up is this is from a subscriber who follows me, and he asked me a question about do I do grafting or not. So yes, I do. Here is an example of grafting. This is Puna bonnieae. And Puna bonnieae is from Argentina, Catamarca, 2,500 to 3,300 meters above sea level. The extent of its range is about 20 kilometers, and it's found in less than 5 locations. And it's found in almost lifeless rocky soil in the Puna. And Puna just indicates the western region, 4,500 meters above sea level, that extends into Peru, into Bolivia and Argentina. And the bodies are almost completely immersed into the ground in nature, so you barely will see it above the ground, maybe just barely the top portion. And because of continual theft, it's ever reducing the population. So, always buy cultivated plants. Don't buy plants that are taken from habitat, so that we can help with conservation. So this particular bonnieae is grafted on Echinopsis stock. So Echinopsis is a cold hardy, very fast growing cactus, as you know. It produced all these small offsets after grafting. It initially hasn't started growing yet, but it will in time. And here is the plant that's not grafted, that's grown on its own roots. So, as I said in one of my messages, that a lot of cacti do grow well on their own roots, and a good thing about this particular Puna bonnieae is that it does have a nice subterranean storage root, or a tap root. So after it's made as a cutting, it's able to start to grow this taproot again. So it does have a good root system. And this is not elongating or anything. They have stems that are usually globular to obconical or slightly elongated, 2.5 centimeters. And they're quite difficult to detach from the mother plant, and the only way to do it is to cut them with a nice clean blade to make cuttings. Ideally, they should be planted in a mineral soil in a deep pot to accommodate the taproot. And Puna bonnieae can tolerate temperatures down to -10, and I would think that's about maybe 20 Fahrenheit or lower, and it's able to tolerate some light frost too. And this particular plant, when I got it, it was just the single stem at the bottom, so it has produced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 offsets, so that's pretty good for a year and a half, I would think. It's commonly grafted, as you saw there, but as you can see here, it grows perfectly well on its own roots too. And one more photo, I'd like to show you this, and this is an Opuntia echeveridis, if I get the name right, and this particular mountainous growing cactus comes from close proximities to Puna and other globular growing Tephro-cactus. This particular one has also got a taproot, and it grows perfectly well on its own roots, and it's produced a lot of offsets. When I first bought it, it was a few elongated stems, so I think it was grown in very low light, maybe under a grow light or outside, and it has gotten better. It has actually retained its proper shape. So over a complete year, autumn, spring, summer, and winter, those stems have actually changed their shape and become globular again. And you can see all the new offsets there, all nice and globular. And it is growing up on a wall facing, let's see now, southwesterly. So for me, that is quite a breezy spot there. That gets a lot of fresh air because I've situated it up quite high on the wall, and it gets nice morning sun and afternoon shade. And as you know, I live in Japan. We get very humid summers. We get monsoons, and it's surviving up there quite well due to the fact that it's in very airy condition up there. And it is planted in very mineral soil with river sand, akadama, and kanuma. But if you skip one or the other, it won't really matter. It won't matter to the plant, but I did have to have the gritty sand in there. And I water it only when it's completely dry. And sometimes I'll leave it for even 2 to 3 weeks after that before I give it a water. So don't be in a hurry to water it because you want it to grow faster. You'll probably cause it to elongate and lose its shape. Also, it could rot. So just let it do what it has to do naturally. And of course I took photos because it's up out of my reach at the moment, because I've set all the orchids out there for the summer, so I cannot reach it to take it down. So it's surviving solely on the odd slight bit of mist from any kind of rain that might enter there. Otherwise I do give it a thorough watering, like I said. From spring to summer, it would get no more than 3 to 4 waterings, and that's about it. Anyway, thanks for joining me on this up and close with Acanthocalycium, spiniflorum, Violaceum, and Puna bonnieae. And we'll see you next time for another close-up with some other cacti. And until then, don't forget that looking after your plants is not a chore, it's part of your self-care. So go out there, or get out there today in your garden or with your house plants and give them some nice good old TLC, and you'll feel much better for it. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time. Bye bye.